Hello, this is Catherine. I know I need to stop talking. Hello, lovelies. It's bloody wet, isn't it? I mean, what the fuck with the weather? Is it just me, or does it feel like this year we've kind of like gone winter, 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 spring, winter, 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 spring, winter, more winter, more winter, 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 summer, winter, 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 more winter. Was there autumn? Did we have autumn? I feel like we're headlong into the middle of winter, and fuck me, it's freezing. And I can say this with some authority now. I actually like being outside in the great outdoors. I don't look like I do when you see me in my 4-inch stilettos that I can't walk in and ridiculous coat, more on which later. But I actually do quite like being outside in the great outdoors. But today was something else. And any other football parents or outdoor sports parents, I feel like any kind of ice skating parents would have very smug looks on their faces, and rightly so, as they saw football parents heading off today. And as a football parent, you become convinced on days like today. You convince yourselves on like the group WhatsApp. You're like, "Oh, game will be cancelled. It'll be cancelled. Surely it'll be cancelled." And you're getting close to kick-off, and you're like, "It's going to be cancelled, right? Somebody's going to send a text to cancel. It's going to be cancelled." No, the game was not cancelled. And pre-pandemic, I would have been like, for fuck's sake, but I am still completely in Pollyanna mode about, we can leave the house, we can do things. So I kind of, enthusiastically attempted to wrap up in wet weather gear, which is not my strong point, I'll be honest. I refer you back to the tampon story of the other week. I'm not great on wet weather gear. In fact, that's how I found myself at 7:45 one morning this week in Tesco's buying Wellington boots, which, there's some stuff, as a parent, you just think, they never covered this in the books. There was no hint in the parenting manual that one day I would be forced to get up in time to get myself and one of my offspring to Tesco before 8 a.m. to purchase Wellington boots. I still don't entirely know what they were needed for. But yeah, we are not a household that does well on wet weather attire. So I cobbled together the best of a bad job this morning, by which I mean I had some completely non-waterproof trainers. Oh my goodness, they were so not waterproof. If the trainer people would like someone to factory test the waterproofness of their trainers, I have done that. Your trainers they're like the least my skin is more waterproof than your trainers. Actually, that's a ridiculous comparison, isn't it? Because clearly skin is waterproof, or else we'd all be waterlogged people things. Good, excellent. Glad to see that words are coming to me as fluently as always. Oh, it's been quite a week, from Wellington Bootgate to all the other stuff that I'll tell you about in a bit. But yes, where was I? So no, I put on my non-waterproof trainers. I'd found a big coat, looked like a sleeping bag, so I felt that I was going to blend in really well on the sidelines, because I'd seen other parents wearing big sleeping bag style coats, and an umbrella that probably looks a bit preposterous, but haha, I had the last laugh, because although it looks like a fashion item, it is effectively a transparent umbrella that kind of curves round a lot as opposed to going out flat at the side. Again, object design, probably not my strong point, but it kind of it curves around like a bell, and it kind of goes around you, which is brilliant, because when you have biting gales alongside lashing rain, because let's really go the whole hog with this delightful spectator weather, what you want is something that's going to keep the rain that's coming in towards you sideways. So my umbrella not only did the job, it's transparent, so I could even watch through and see the game at the same time. I felt frankly inspired. Unfortunately, the rest of my outfit did not quite live up to the umbrella's promise. Sleeping bag coats, not entirely all the cracks up to it. Fair play to Beth and her teammates, all of them, all the girls out there, going for it, hell for leather, falling all over the place. I mean, it's like a fucking slip and slide out there on the football pitch. You're literally, you've got girls going in one direction and the other direction. And they managed to win, which was well done them. They did a really good job. The other team played brilliantly as well. And I do think it's tough to lose 1-0 at the best of times. And standing in gale force winds and lashing rain, losing 1-0 is definitely not the best of times. But they were very, very worthy opponents. And then we fucking got into the, drenched, genuinely drenched. My sleeping bag coat, while it had been quite warm, which, I suppose is good as befits a sleeping bag, much like the trainers, not so great in the waterproof front. So we both then went back from the match in the car, and then we had to stop off in M&S and walked around M&S looking like we'd wet ourselves, which was nice. And then I got home and to testify just how unwaterproof my trainers were. And to be fair to the trainers, I don't think they ever claimed to be waterproof. I'm an incurable optimist. I always think, well, maybe they will be. they weren't, I was able to wring, and I do mean wring, water out of my socks when I got home. I've probably got trench foot now, haven't I? Marvellous, I've probably got trench foot. But like I say, because I'm still in this, we can go out, we can do things, it's amazing, I'm alive. I celebrated my socky trench foot, and I'm now in a massive hoodie and some jeans that don't make me look like I wet myself, so I think it's been a successful Saturday so far. It's a bit of a weird Saturday, to be honest, because apart from anything else, we had a late kick-off, which usually I would be relishing. I would so be relishing not having to leap out of bed in time to get to like an 8 a.m. kick-off. But 8 a.m. this morning was like probably the one bit of halfway decent weather, and then the storm came in. But it's all good, isn't it? Like I say, it's just nice to be out, and it's nowhere near as bad. I do always think like football is a very kind activity to spectators who may have consumed slightly too much alcohol the previous evening. Now, while that wasn't me this time around, I did start having flashbacks to the hell, and it is hell, of Saturday morning swimming lessons. I mean, swimming lessons are a bit much at the best of times, and they're also one of those things that as a parent you don't really feel that you can opt out of, because it's like a life skill, as in literally this may save your life skill. So the only time, because of all Beth's football, that we ever used to be able to fit in swimming lessons for her was first thing on a Saturday morning. And with Jamie, I'd got really lucky because a friend of mine used to look after Jamie on one evening after school along with her two boys, and she said, I'm going to take the boys to swimming lessons. Do you want to pay, and I'll take Jamie along as well? And I was like, fantastic, this is amazing. Jamie's going to get taught to swim. I don't have to have anything to do with it. This is the holy grail. Gallingly, one of her sons is now pretty much on course to be basically an Olympic athlete, while meanwhile Jamie is sitting in his bedroom wrapped in his duvet. So we all take different paths in life, right? Those swimming lessons clearly had more influence on some of the children than some of the others. But Jamie learnt to swim what felt like completely effortlessly from my perspective. So with Beth, I think I was a bit like, no, it's fine. We'll be like done in 5 weeks. So it's a bit of a slog these early mornings, but you know, we'll all be done by Christmas. 4 years later, Jamie graduated to the top group. The top group's where you swim lengths quite quickly. Beth, in four years, never went anywhere near the top fucking group. Oh my God, Beth's swimming lessons were painful. I mean, she probably spent the first 2 years literally just walking across the pool with her feet on the bottom of the pool. And I could see she was doing that. And her swimming teacher could see she was doing that. And her swimming teacher kept saying to her, Beth, don't walk across the pool. And Beth would say, okay. And as soon as her swimming teacher's back was turned, she would walk across the pool. Again, and I confronted her after one swimming lesson and said, Beth, you've got to get your feet off the bottom of the pool. You're never going to learn to swim with your feet on the bottom of the pool. And she looked at me. She could only have been 5 or 6 at the time. She looked at me and went, Mum, gravity? Like, duh. Well, that feedback's a gift, as they say. Gravity, duh, indeed. So yeah, it was like 4 whole years of watching Beth walk along the bottom of a pool while I sweated out neat gin on the sidelines and wondered what the fuck happened to my Saturday mornings. I mean, if the 22-year-old me could have seen the 30-something me's Saturday mornings, they would have literally had head in their hands going, fucking hell. And then eventually swimming lessons, kind of around the time the pandemic started, I guess, we stopped them for obvious reasons because there was a pandemic. And I kind of resigned myself to the fact that Beth probably wouldn't learn to swim. And somebody lovely actually commented on the blog when I was having one frustrated day and said, it's harder for footballers to learn to swim because they need to, in football, keep their ankles strong. Whereas in swimming, you have to learn to flex your ankles. Could have been total bullshit, but my God, it made me feel loads better at the time. So if that was you, thank you very much. Thank you very much for reassuring me. So I was kind of like, okay, she hasn't learnt to swim. I'll have to put her on like some intensive course or something. And then earlier this year, I don't know, all the days blur into one, don't they? At some point in the pandemic when we were allowed to leave our houses, whenever that was, I arranged for us to go to a really nice hotel, me, Mr. I Know I Need to Stop Talking, and the 2 children, and it had a swimming pool, which was great excitement. So we went into the swimming pool, and I was like sitting on the side, not very keen to get in, but going, oh, well, I'm going to have to get in, aren't I? Because, you know, water safety, blah, blah, blah. Jamie's fine, but better go and keep an eye on Beth. And Beth then, to my astonishment, got into the pool and swam a length. Just like that. Just went and did it. And I was like, hi, sorry, what? And she's like, yeah, I can swim. And I was like, and the years of swimming lessons? Yeah, I didn't really want to swim then. Fuck my fucking life. Anyway, swimming lessons are done. She can swim. Hallelujah. Yeah. So I may have been taking wet this morning, but I wasn't sitting poolside on a boiling hot swimming pool, sweating out neat gin. So win-win, I say. Win-win. I've had a bit of a weird week blog-wise because, it's felt really hard to write words this week. Really hard. So everyone will have seen, unless you were living under a rock or steering clear of the news completely, and to be fair, who can blame you? It's fucking miserable at the minute. But the verdict on the Sarah Everard case, and obviously her killer was sentenced this week, and there's been some other high-profile murders of women in the news recently, and I don't know, I've really, really struggled to find the right words to articulate how despairing I feel. I think, like, the case itself was awful. Sarah's murder was awful, and so are all the murders of, so it's one every 3 days a woman or a girl is killed by a man. Like, what the fuck? I cannot even get my head around it. But then to have that exacerbated by, sort of the high profile individuals, let's call them, saying that, women need to take steps to keep themselves more safe on the street. They should run away. They should flag down a bus. Flag down a fucking bus. I can't flag down a fucking bus when I want to get on a fucking bus, let alone when I think somebody might be trying to fucking abduct me and kill me. And then, kind of stuff on social media about, oh, well, women need to be more streetwise. Fuck that. Fuck women need to be more streetwise. How about men, and it is a minority of men, it is not all men, I absolutely know that. How about men need to be less rapey, need to be less murdery? Wouldn't that be a better solution? Oh, fucking hell, it's really hard because I don't see a good or an easy solution. It just feels exhausting sometimes. It really does. And you want so desperately to be part of the solution, but the solution, I don't believe, comes about until those in power, whether in government, whether in business, whether in industries where there's large degrees of this kind of shit going down, until they take fucking accountability and all take steps to make sure it doesn't start with the victims. The victims are not at fault here. Dear God, the victims are not the ones at fault here. We have to start educating, and it has to start right from when, the men of the future, our boys, our children, they have to be taught just fucking basic rudiments of human decency, and I do think that's what it is. And like I said, 99% of people out there get that. But I do think all of us as well, regardless male or female, I think we all have a responsibility as well. We've got to call out these behaviours. I mean, those officers who kind of complicit in what happened because they referred to the man who killed Sarah as a rapist as a joke. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? I'm not going to apologise for my language because this has made me so angry and so upset, as it has every other woman that I know out there. Sarah was walking home. She was fucking walking home, and she never got home. And Sarah is one of many hundreds, thousands of women the globe over, and we have to change, we have to change, we have to change, we have to educate, we have to challenge, we have to change. And I hope that the post that I wrote this morning and put onto Facebook and Instagram, I hope I summed it up in the right way, how I was feeling. Like I say, this isn't all men, but it is some men. And with 99% of attacks on women being by men, it's a man issue here. And there were a few great responses on the post about, how I hate that we say, a woman was raped as opposed to a man raped a woman. Stop victim blaming. We can't change the awful events that happened to Sarah and to so many others like her, but we can try and do our best to change the world that we live in. And I guess we have to believe that we can do that, right? Because we have to have some hope. So yeah, it's been a weird old week. And I know I'm not the only person feeling like that. And a massive thank you to everybody who took time to engage with and interact on the post. Lots of really thought-provoking and heartbreaking comments as well. So yeah, that's taken up quite a bit of headspace this week. As has the fact that Jamie's got COVID. God love him. Poor Jamie. I mean, the timing is fucking stellar. So obviously we are, 18 plus months now into the pandemic. I feel like I've been saying the pandemic's been going on for 18 months for ages. At some point it must hit like 19, 20 months, but no, I'm stuck on 18 months. And unsurprisingly, because his entire class have come down with it, Jamie has COVID. And he's a stoic lad, is Jamie. He got up and went to me, he went, I don't feel very well, Mum, but it's all right, I'll go to school. Can you just write a note so I can't do PE? And I was like, Jamie, mate, most of your class are out with COVID. He was like, I thought they just weren't there. Yeah, so shall we do a COVID test? He's like, all right. So he went to do a COVID test, and I don't know about any of you, but I know when I've been doing these lateral flow tests, I've been like scrutinising them, going, oh, you know, it's like when you do pregnancy tests, right? Is there a line? Is there not a line? Will the line come up gradually? Jamie's line on his COVID test came up so fucking quickly. I think the liquid had barely touched the test strip. I was like, yeah, you've got COVID, mate. So yeah, he has COVID, and as I say, the timing is stellar because we are 2nd of October today. So October is birthday month. Birthday month, not one, not two, but three of us all have October birthdays in the first half of October. So Jamie's is the 6th, Beth's is the 10th, mine is the 16th. Mine happens to be my 40th. I am currently resigning myself to a 40th birthday in isolation, which, to be fair, I won't be the only person, and I won't be the last person who has to do something like that. But yeah, you're just like, oh, timing is a beautiful thing. But he's been great. He's been really good and very stoic, and consoled himself by eating lots of poached eggs. So perhaps if you have COVID and not sure what you fancy eating, Jamie's gone down the poached egg route. So he's been great. Beth, on the other hand, has been livid, and maybe understandably, because obviously she realises this is probably going to wipe out her birthday celebrations, which obviously she didn't get to have last year because of COVID. So on the first morning when he got the diagnosis, and obviously then we had to arrange to go and get PCR tests done for everybody, and poor Jamie's, you know, just standing there feeling a bit shit, but, you know, battling stoically through, and Beth comes in and howls at him, Jamie, will you stop breathing COVID everywhere? Reasonable as ever. So yeah, that's life in the I know I need to stop talking household at the moment. It's a little bit COVID-y around here, and I am such an expert in lateral flow tests. Anybody else feel like they're in some science lab when they're doing a lateral flow test? I literally feel like I'm some kind of Professor Brian Cox. I don't think he does tests, and I think he's more about the universe, but I'm sure he'd turn his hand to a COVID test if he needed to as well. On the plus side, if we're all here isolating for birthday month, that does mean I will have plenty of time to focus on the birthday cakes, and long-time podcast listeners will know birthday cakes are a big deal in this household, despite the fact that I don't like cake, which appalls everybody when they hear that. It's like occasionally on the blog, usually around Christmas time, I confess to not liking cheese. And there's like these howls of, oh my God, I thought I knew you. Who even are you? What hell is this? And I'm like, I'm really sorry, I just don't like cheese. I don't mind mozzarella. It's not really a cheese, is it? It's more like a ball of milk mozzarella. Yeah, I'm all right with mozzarella, but other cheeses, oh no. But yeah, I don't like cake either. But birthday cakes in my family have always been a really, really big thing. So when I think back as a kid to my birthdays, and my mum and dad always gave me the most amazing birthdays and, you know, lovely presents, lovely parties. But the highlight of my birthday every year was my birthday cake. Because my mum and lots of other mums did this back then. This was not out of the ordinary at all, because you didn't have the luxury of being able to go into one of the big supermarkets and pick up a pre-iced cake, or if you did, they're probably about £1 million. Mind you, with inflation and rising gas bills, I mean, maybe birthday cakes will be £1 million again soon. Woo! Something to look forward to. You can come and see me then. I will give you the tips of the trade. And I'm not a hands-on parent at all, as anybody who's ever met me or watched me parenting will know only too well. I don't do crafts. I don't do children's activities or toddler groups or baby groups or any other hell like that. But the one thing I was like, no, I really want to do this for my children, because I remember how amazing it was for me. I was always going to make their birthday cakes every year. And I have done every single year. And they like to test me. So again, long-time listeners will know that of all the cakes my mum made me when I was little, and there are so many amazing cakes that I could pull out as highlights, but the standout one, and I'm so happy that I still have a photo of it today. My mum made a greengrocer's stall birthday cake, and she had made the cake obviously and covered it with, I think it was like green desiccated coconut, and then she'd made every single individual piece of marzipan, fruit and vegetables, and she'd covered it with a red and white striped in food dye rice paper awning, and it was one of the most incredible things anybody's ever done to me. Like, I can still remember seeing the cake. It was just magical. Because I'm a dickhead, I showed this cake to my children and went, look at this amazing cake, isn't it wonderful? Jamie went, yeah, I'd like that for my next birthday. And I'll be honest, for the first year, there was a little part of me that went, oh yes, I'm going to recreate the magic of when I was a little girl. And the magic was hell. It was dark magic. Fucking hell. Like, my mum, when I said to her, I'm going to make the cake, sort of nicely said, well, why don't you make the fruit and vegetables in advance? And my mum's super organised, and I was thinking, oh, come on, it's a bit overkill. how long can it take to make a few bits of fruit and vegetables? Very long is the answer. Very fucking long indeed. And I did about an 8-hour stint in the kitchen that day. And I was knackered by the end of it, but to be fair, it looked amazing. I brought in Jamie. I've still got a picture of his face when he saw it. Like, it was like one of those magical, oh my God, I'm going to remember this forever. And then Jamie went, the next year, I'll have the fruit stall cake again. And I went, what the fuck? No, fuck off, you've had the fruit stall cake. He's like, yes, amazing, I loved it. It's the best cake I've ever had. I want it again. Which is how, ladies and gentlemen, I ended up making the fucking fruit stall cake, not once, not twice, but 3 times. 3 times! Yes, if I sound hysterical, it's because I was. Thankfully, we've moved on past fruit stall cakes, although, you know, it's Jamie, I wouldn't put it past him to put a curveball in there at some point. So last year he asked for, and I delivered, a swimming pool cake, which actually swimming pool cakes are piss easy because basically you get some blue jelly that you have to import in from a country with far less regulation around food dye colours, because you can't get proper blue jelly in the UK, to my knowledge. So goodness knows what this one's got in it, but it's very, very blue. And actually, the cake would have been really easy. I think I would have been done in about an hour, were it not for the fact that I think I can only blame like pandemic madness. I bought myself some new cake making tools, and I had one that punched out little squares. I went, oh, I'll make a marzipan mosaic in 3 different shades of blue to go around the side of the pool. 5 hours later, I had to pick my children up from school. I had to abandon my fucking marzipan squares and consequently my swimming pool. Okay, I like to think that maybe it was like a brand new swimming pool. It's only half tiled, but that's okay. A work in progress, and Jamie was delighted. So, although I am repeating the swimming pool cake this year at his request, there will be substantially less tiling going down. I think we might just go for the, you know, freshly laid cement. It's a brand new swimming pool, hasn't even been tiled yet. But if Jamie's cake choices are predictable, Beth's are definitely not, as proved to me last year. I mean, she's gone through a few different types, and most of them have been quite normal birthday cake requests. And then last year, having sighed with relief that her brother wasn't going to ask for the fruit stall cake again, she went, I know what kind of birthday cake I'd like this year. And I was like, cool, what would you like, sweetheart? I'd like a toilet with a poo and a wee in it. I said, pardon? She said, a toilet with a poo and a wee in it. And there was a little silence for a little bit, and I was going to ask her if she was serious, and then I thought, it's Beth, of course she is. And that's how I ended up last year, having recovered from the swimming pool cake, making, which to be fair, was much easier to make, a toilet with a lemon jelly wee in it, and a brown marzipan poo in it, which, credit to me, I believe, looked so disgusting that nobody in my household would eat it. So that's a win. And my little claim to fame from that was when I posted it up on Instagram, I even had one of the Great British Bake Off contestants comment on it. So hashtag life goals. What can I say? We need more toilets with poos and wees in it. It's clearly the way to go. I found out it was International Podcast Day this week. Is it just me, or does absolutely everything seem to have a fucking day at the moment? Like International Battery Day. I'm looking around the what shit's on Catherine's desk. Lots of shit, as it turns out. International Battery Day. International Blue Jelly Day. It's here, won't it be? International COVID Test Day. That'll probably become an actual thing, won't it? Yeah, so International Podcast Day, which I didn't know, but my friend Rachel, who hopefully is listening to this, hi Rach, love you, she informed me that it was International Podcast Day because she has just set up her own podcast with her friend Sophie. It's called Mum's Night Out, and one of the many reasons that Rachel and I have been friends for such a long time is that she correctly apostrophised Mum's Night Out. So I'm already predisposed to love it as a podcaster. And it was great. It was amazing. It was the first ever podcast I've ever listened to, because as long-term listeners know, I don't listen to podcasts. So fuck no, I'm rambling on this one. It's a joy and a delight to me every week that any of you actually listen to it. But obviously, because it was the first podcast that I'd ever listened to, I mean, it's fucking eye-opening. I'll be honest, I don't know why any of you have stayed listening to this shit for the last year and a bit, because, like, I mean, proper podcasts have, like, introductions when you find out who the person is who's talking at you, and, like, a theme tune, or is it a jingle? Are the two the same? I mean, maybe we should have a theme tune for this podcast. We won't, because it would be preposterous, but maybe we should. Yeah, so I was kind of listening to it and all going, oh, this is what podcasting is all about. I don't even think that mine could probably be called a podcast. I'm like, maybe this is just like a really long answer phone message. Maybe this is a whole different art form in itself. You know, the proper podcast, there's like a structure, there's a narrative, there's like a theme, as opposed to the ramblings of a mad woman. So yeah, if you get a chance, go and listen to Rachel and Sophie's podcast. It's excellent. It's proper podcast stuff, as opposed to this mad lady rambling here. But I love that you all put up with my mad ramblings. As I say, there's a reason that I've never gone into PR. I mean, speaking of lack of structure in podcasts, let me move you swiftly on from everything else we've talked about to fucking hell. Many of you may have seen the blog post that I posted on Monday. The great fucking mouse hunt. I mean, my cats are the dicks that just keep on giving. They really are. So for anybody who didn't see the blog post, or indeed for anybody who did but wants to relive the magical moment with me, it's Monday. I'm sitting here doing some work and I become aware of a commotion from upstairs, which obviously is a little bit alarming in the middle of the day. So I went upstairs to find Brexit, and again, for anybody who's new to the podcast, I have 3 cats. They all have ridiculous names because ridiculous names are funny. So we have Sandwich, she's the old lady, and then we have ASAP and Brexit, who are both absolute fucking liabilities. They are rescue, all my cats are rescue cats. They're rescue cats, they're 2 years old, they are part Bengal, and they are batshit, absolutely fucking batshit. And they're also really prolific hunters, which Sandwich has never bothered with because she's like, I get fed twice a day, why would I bother? Quite right too. So I went upstairs and Brexit is meowing like an absolute maniac at this terrified looking mouse in front of her. And I always try and rescue the prey of my cats when they bring it in. I know it's a gift, but it's a shit gift, right? Even if I'm spending my 40th birthday in isolation, that's a shit gift. So I tried to get the mouse from Brexit, who made a lunge for it and obviously beat me because cats are much smarter and better than humans in probably every single way. So she got the mouse. And I made another lunge for her and she dropped it. And the mouse disappeared. And I was like, where the fuck's the mouse gone? Where the fuck's the mouse gone? It was like reminiscent back to my horrendous potty training moment that I know you're all familiar with, the night that I lost the poo. I lost a poo in the bathroom when I was potty training Jamie. It was hell. So I'm looking around the room going, where the fuck's the mouse? And Brexit's looking at me like, you're an idiot, aren't you? God, mousing skills, not your strength, love. Stick to what you know. Stick to what you know. So we were in what we refer to as the gaming room, which is where the kids have their PCs and all the Legos kept. And so I'm like looking around the room in all the obvious places, like the corners and under things on the floor, looking for the mouse. And it's not there. It's like, what the fuck is it? Evaporated? What the fuck is it? So we were around the whole room and I couldn't see it anywhere. And then I looked down right in front of me, and right in front of me was the Lego Death Star, which many of you will remember was a massive, massive treat that the children and I bought ourselves after my book. And God love all of you who've read it and bought it. You are brilliant and amazing. And it had hit what in my head was an insane number of sales. So I was like, right, there's a treat. I always said if it ever got to this number, we would buy ourselves the Lego Death Star, thinking smugly, it'll never get to that number. It got to that number, and we should all be careful what we promise to our children, because like elephants, they never forget. So the Lego Death Star is fucking massive and very fragile and fully assembled in front of me on the floor, and Brexit's staring at it, and I'm like, you are having a laugh. And yes, I can confirm that the mouse had sidestepped Brexit to go and get itself fucking trapped in the middle of the Lego Death Star. And the Lego Death Star is like, I don't know, 4 floors, and there's 4 rooms on each floor, and all the rooms are linked to one another by elevators and slide doors and tunnels and all that kind of shit. And now I've got a mouse racing around the Death Star. And somebody's told me subsequently that mice are completely incontinent, so now I've got a pissy Death Star. Marvellous. What a start to a Monday. So I spend the next 7 minutes of my life, 7 minutes that I will never get back, chasing a mouse around a Death Star, which is not a sentence that I ever thought that I would be required to say or speak or have to live through the existence of. Finally, I managed to corner it in the throne room, which felt ironic. And I was like, right, I've got you. And I was just brushing it gently to the ground to hopefully then trap it in a glass or something and take it outside. And as I gently swept it to the ground, Brexit bided her time very effectively, pounced on it, leapt on it, put her jaws around it, and swallowed it up with a mouse tail hanging out of her mouth as she ran down the stairs. Hooray! Marvellous! What a Monday! Hashtag blessed. I don't know what goes on in my life. I don't know. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. Well, I'm going to go off and try and dry off, which will probably happen sometime in 2022 based on how wet I was when I got back here today. A colleague of mine over the course of this week, who had also got soaked in training one night this week, suggested to me that I needed a dry robe. I had no idea what a dry robe was, so I googled, and I saw a lady wearing one today. She looked very, very dry, and 99% of me said that would be a really, really sensible purchase to make, and 1% of me went, yeah, but I don't want to be seen in public wearing a dry robe. I'm a dick. I have nobody to blame but myself for my sogginess. They just look really practical and really sensible, and that just doesn't fit with the lack of sensibility or practicality in my life at all. So 5-inch stilettos and a furry leopard-proof coat it will be for next week's game, which is also bound to be played in pouring rain because winter, forever fucking winter, fuck's sake. I hope you all have lovely weeks. I'm off to carry out COVID Watch, which perhaps is what the BBC will replace Spring Watch with, which is basically when you go upstairs armed with a thermometer and those things that clip on the end of fingers. Are they oximeters? Are they a thing? I might have made that word up, but the things they give you in hospital, I mean, it's great. I feel like such a proper doctor when I use one of those. Give me a stethoscope and I reckon I could, I can easily see myself waltzing into A&E and pretending that I know what I'm doing, which would be terrifying for all of us, so I won't do that. But yeah, love an oximeter, love a medical device, I hope everybody's safe and well. I hope anybody else who's got COVID in their household is recovering swiftly, and I hope to God none of you are going to spend any part of your week chasing a mouse round a Death Star. Fuck my actual life. Have lovely weeks, loves. Take care. I'll see you next week. Lots of love. Bye-bye.